Hello and welcome to the Results with Ronnie podcast series. I am Ronnie Walker, Master Coach of Exceptional Relationships and Sex, and today we're going to talk about submission and obey. So really, what is all of this about? You know, just when you think that the discussions, the forums concerning these two words has died down, somehow they always tend to trend back up. Now sometimes some form of movies showcase this, social media, celebrities, some form of organized religion. It goes on and on and on. You see the memes all over Facebook, Instagram, you name it, it's there. But yet, it is, for some, especially it seems to be as of late, one of the most triggering words that men and women have had to deal with in the world of relationships. And why is that? How did such a word, or words in this case, become a place that is a point of contention? It triggers stress, defiance, arguments. How did this all come about? Well, hopefully toward the end of that I can address that. But the whole, again, the purpose of this podcast is really just to carry the conversation forward. Maybe answer some questions that you never considered, or it may initiate some form of questions that you didn't think to ask yourselves or others, or to answer for yourself as you move forward in the space of yourself as well as in the space of people you're looking to share your life with. So, based on the definition you choose to use, well, that may be part of it. Like, for instance, if I was to go to Google and look up what they say is the dictionary definition of submissive, it says, ready to conform to the authority or will of others, meekly, obedient, or passive. Now, some would not like the idea of being meek or passive. What does it say about obey? Well, obey says, comply with the command, direction, or request of a person or law where you submit to the authority of. So, in growing up, we always obey our parents. We obey the law, hopefully, through our young life as well as our adult life. And yet, accepting the fact that at some point, and in everywhere in our lives, we obey something, there are certain things and certain people don't obey. Now, we can go real deep into the woods of that, and maybe I'll delve into that a little later on in this podcast. But for now, since this is about relationships and sex, why is it such a challenge? Now, if you look at the definition of submission in the Bible, there's a scripture. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22-23. And this states this: Wives, submit yourselves to your own husband as you do to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is head of the church, his body, of which he is a Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands in everything. And yet, you have women that are removing that in their vows when they're getting married. They submit and obey. And there's a form of contention because, you know, now, of course, before we get to the part of becoming a wife and a husband, we're in the dating space. And it seems to be that with the people that I've called and asked about this, both men and women, as well as those that are calling me in the years that I've been coaching couples and single men and women, this is something that many make, and they're very adamant that they're not going to be. Many have, or they choose to make it a point where they believe that this is not something they're going to do until they're a wife. Until that husband puts that ring on their finger, the mere conversation, a talk, or consideration of submission or obey is just not even in the field. It's just, why bother? And yet, as I talk to the men, this is something that for them is a prerequisite. So why is it such an issue again in the space of dating, even more so in the space of marriage? Well, the Bible puts it in the context of husband and wife. And even as I explain this to men, they still have a challenge with this. They think that this is something that, okay, so then what happens prior to the ring? We still have to do the dating and courtship. She claims she's looking for someone who's going to protect and provide. How am I supposed to prove that if she still wants to be the boss, if she still wants to be equal? And where the hell would all these thoughts come from in the first place? Well, there are a couple of things that one would consider. One, feminism. And even something as, I believe, well-intended as feminism, if you ask 15 different people the definition, you get 15 different definitions of feminism. And I think like most well-intended movements or ideals, there are those that are productive and those that are very, very harmful to oneself and to relationships as a whole. And I think what has happened in some cases is that the pendulum of independence has swung so far to the right that now you have this clash. Because if there's one thing that I've heard from men over and over and over and over in relationships is you have far too many women trying to act like they're men. In every little thing they want to debate, every little thing they want to be equal to. Only when it serves them. And other times, then they want to play the background because that's the man's job. And so their argument is that women have no challenge in telling men what his role is during the dating phase, but then have trouble in stating what their role is. And in so many cases, I have to agree with the brothers on this. Like, for instance, if I ask a woman, and on many occasions I've had this conversation, so whether it's a client, consultation, just in an informal group setting of couples, single people, it could be a cocktail hour or something of this nature, and I'll ask someone, what are you looking for in a man? And these women, in so many cases, will start off telling you what they're not going to do. And that, I find, is a problem. Because if you're looking for a man, and men, if you're looking for a woman to share your life with, well, you want to find out what it is that they're about, what it is that they are looking toward being in their life, where they stand on certain subjects, views, and what it is that makes them an eligible husband or wife. You don't want to hear what they're not going to do. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to have that conversation later, but you want to start off with the contributions, the value that this man is going to add to your life, and the value that she's going to add to his. But if the woman is in a space where her list of what she's not going to do, as opposed to what she'd like to do and be and is, then you have to understand where the men are coming from. This leads to the thing about submission. So the independence, where I'm more so leaning toward interdependence, because no man or woman is an island, you get into this whole negotiation as opposed to really having some form of compromise of where each of you stand in each other's lives. However, I still speak to women who make it known that they have no problem of allowing a man to be a man in a relationship because they're secure in who they are. They're independent, but they understand servant leadership. They understand that there are times when she has to lean on his abilities to lead the relationship. So between feminism, between the I don't need no man movement, I've often said, ladies, one of the challenges is believing that you all are on the same accord. And there could be nothing further from the truth. I can listen to programs, I can look on social media, hell, I can read different books, and it appears as a man, so I'm speaking as a man, because I am a man, that women are all over the place, and that the message isn't congruent. And in a way, that's not bad. But we all hope that it ends up leading to the same destination. So regardless of the movement, you're going to have someone who's going to go left, someone who's going to go right, someone's going to go down the middle, but at some point, you end up at the same place. And in this case, we're talking for the women that are looking to build something. They're looking for marriage. They're looking to share their life with someone forever after. But if, again, you're not allowing the man to be the man, I can assure you, you're going to have problems moving down the road. It's inevitable, and I see it all the time. No man wants to feel as though he's debating a woman all the time on every decision that needs to be made. Yet you'll have women say, well, Ronnie, the only reason that happens is because I don't trust him. There's things he has to do. Okay, well, now we're getting back to conversations, communication, him not reading your mind. Because what is leadership to him may not look like leadership to you. So there should be no reason you're a year, 2 years down the road and you're still doubting every movement he makes. Now, it's one thing if you spell that out for him and you still get that, then it's still up to you to decide whether you're going to continue to work on this through coaching and therapy, or you're going to dismiss yourself from the relationship. But if you want a man to lead, let him lead. And decide on what criteria he's looking to have in order for you to allow him to lead. Because the funny thing about the Bible part is that, listen, I'm far from someone who can tell you about the Bible inside out, backwards forward. But I notice a lot of men tend to use this as justification for their feelings. And then I ask, well, when was the last time you've been to church? And it's not since some wedding or funeral years ago. So then why are you using the Bible? And they'll give some reason, whatever. And then I ask them, well, what does submission mean to you? In a lot of cases, it's different than what the Bible describes as submission is. And in so many cases, that's where the challenge is. It's the same way when I ask a woman, well, what does independent or being an independent woman mean to you? And what they describe as something that doesn't seem as independent as in coming across as being better than someone else. And sometimes in this case, it's the man they're in a relationship or chose not to be in a relationship with. See, ladies, I find a lot of times that men, for the most part, at least the men that you're looking for, that you're saying you're willing to submit to or listen to or build a relationship, they're not intimidated by a strong woman. They're not. However, what they're not going to do is argue and debate with a woman each and every time. You can be talking as something as where you're going to go out to eat or vacation. And there's a debate. Now, mind you, that doesn't mean he's not attracted to a strong woman. It doesn't mean he won't sleep with a strong woman. But will he put a ring on that strong woman? Not alpha men. It's just too much work. And that's not to say a woman should not know who she is and hold her own. Absolutely. But the challenge I find with the women who identify as that have an issue with submission because they believe it to be weak. Something of docile, being docile, degrading. That's not what it is. I believe submission is weak. I believe obeying is weak. Another challenge men has is say, wait a minute, Mr. Ronnie, how is it that they can go out to the job and be submissive to whatever organization they have going on at work and obey all the rules of the road and laws and what HR shows them they need to maintain in which to maintain their employment, but yet come home and want to run everything? And then I asked them, well, did you ask her? And they didn't. Why? Because they wanted to avoid another argument. And those women feel that they're not being submissive or obeyed. So I don't think it's more so the word than the definition that they put to it. But here's another reason. And what I found as I dug deeper in asking women about this, why they had such a challenge with the word, is because they submitted to wrong decisions and people in their past. They had no problem obeying and submitting to a man who did not have their best interests at heart. Now, according to these women, he was wonderful in the beginning, and then he switched up because the mere thought or conversation of maybe they played a part in this bad decision, they will deny. But either way, the fact that they felt they've lost valuable years of their life submitting and obeying a man that broke their heart, may have stole from them, may have physically abused them, sexually abused them, verbally abused them. It was a very toxic situation. And if you listen to the conversation that they described, those men use words like submit and obey. And so they attach memories to those words. And I get it. But what you end up with is now you're making decisions based on limited mindset and fear. And that's not a way you go into a new relationship. You both can't be the boss. And ladies, another note. You can't put on the man old-fashioned dating habits and ideals. And then when it comes to you, you don't want to follow those. You want to follow now the new age way of dating. That's another point of conflict with the men that I speak to. And see, the funny thing is a lot of men have no problem of loving the wife and listening. But it always seems to only go one way for them. So you have to decide. Are you going to stick to the old-fashioned ways of dating? Or are you both going to embrace the new rules of engagement? There are new rules. If you listen to the people that are sharing thoughts on social media, it's intense. But men are asking for some form of congruency. So what's it going to be? Are you going to continue to associate bad patterns and memories to a word that really isn't what you deem it to be? Because if so, then I can assure you you're going to have some challenges. Are you going to use this word as a form of empowerment? Will it help you in your checkoffs and what you're looking for in a man? Because you can tell him to follow the rules, which is something that only husbands should follow. And then when he asks you, say, no, that's something that only wives do. Okay, well then, you want him to do things that only husbands should do. That's not going to work either. And this is why over and over and over I speak of communication, because what this does is it sets the boundaries, it sets the tone of what the relationship is going to look like with you two. And you both will come to a conclusion as to this is what you both want for each other. And I was just having this conversation as early as possible because you don't want to waste your time and he doesn't want his time wasted as well. Now, if you continue to have some form of bad memories or dreams just on the mere word of suggestions, again, submission, I suggest that you move forward and seek some coaching and therapy. I'm very, very big on that. There are many women who've had to deal with domestic abuse of varying kinds, and it's really sad. So again, I truly understand where these women are coming from. But that's all the more reason to seek help. Because if you're looking to build a strong foundation with someone, and every time he uses the word submit because he wants to be the husband that you say that you want, and it's somehow triggering to you, then there may be some different issues. And this is when I'll give the shameless plug of reaching out to me. Now let's get some coaching done so that we can get you out of that mindset, because you may be missing out on a wonderful man. Men, don't pull out the Bible if that's the only scripture you know and use. Don't insult a woman's intelligence. Because again, many men use that in a very toxic way. And I really don't like using that word too much because to me it's just overused. Because again, if you read the passage fully, it talks about loving the wife. And love does not make submission as something that is less than or weak. You don't want to have something dysfunctional and abusive. So brothers, you really need to check yourself. Especially when you're talking about using the Bible only when it's there to serve whatever purpose that you have. Even if you don't go to church, even if you go to church. What we're talking about here is something very healthy, productive, progressive, loving, in the world of relationship building and exceptional sex. If you're going to be the man, be the damn man. And being the man that not just throw around words like submission and obey as if you're better than the woman. She is not less than. She is not some docile. She's a living, breathing, beautiful gift from God. And I believe we as men have to earn that space. And to do it the right way, this is where the conversation comes in. And I bet you'll find that if you really truly care about this woman's journey, you'll learn why she has a challenge with submission and obey. And I think what that will do, if you're a man of your heart and truly are intent on building something beautiful and healthy with this incredible woman, then you'll check yourself, your privilege, and be the man that you need to be. Be the man that she's looking for. And be honest about yourself, about what submission means to you in the space of this relationship before you get to the altar. There is power in submission. There's power in obey. Do not, by any way, any means, think that's less than. This is important, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot tell you enough that this word should not trigger the feelings that is going on every day in your dating life. But unfortunately, we're in a space and time where all it takes is one person and a meme, or someone angry man or woman, or gets on a Facebook Live or Instagram movie or whatever platform they usually choose to use, and they go on and on and on. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'll be damned if I submit. I'll be damned if I obey. Who the hell is he? When in fact, they've given all that space to a person they should not even been with in the first place. And then you have men who can sit out here and use the same platforms and complain on and on about women who are not doing this and women who are not doing that. And then you dig a little deeper into brother man, and he's just the last thing that any woman should want to submit to. So what do you say, Mr. Ronnie? Well, what is all this about? This is about really being honest with ourselves. This is really about checking ourselves and where we honestly, truthfully, unequivocally stand in the world of giving definition to certain words. Are you about true submission as the way it's described in the Bible? Are you really truly about love? Or are you about dysfunction? Are you about abuse? Or are you about believing that you're better than, or she should bow down to you? No, brothers. Ladies, if you want to find the right man that you say you are worthy of, then it behooves you to find out what those men are looking for and not penalize him for something that was done 5, 10, 15 years ago. Hell, it may have been done a year ago. If that man used the word submissive and obey, and he was dysfunctional and abusive, that's then. Maybe we need to hone the discernment skills so that you can be better choosers and who you choose to be submissive to. Because I really truly don't believe it's a bad word. I think what we've done is made it bad in our minds. And now it's spread. Because in the end, for those of you who are religious, you either believe the Bible for what it is or you don't. But like many, there are those who cherry pick to suit their narrative, to accomplish a goal. And that's not healthy. And to me, that's not something anyone should submit to. I want you all to have very healthy relationships. I want you all to have exceptional sex. I speak to so many women who are in healthy, happy relationships, and submitting to their man has been a joy for them. Why? Because he has proven he was worthy of being submitted to. He plays his role. She plays her role. They both agree to have roles. And everything works fine. So just take some time and decide what submission and obey is going to mean for you. And make sure you have those conversations during the dating phase. Again, I would implore you to have those discussions as early as possible. You don't want to waste your time, and you definitely don't want to waste his time. And men, the word earn is going to be big in this conversation. Because truth be told, just by default, you being a man is not someone that she just automatically is going to submit to. Not because you're good at laying pipe or getting it in. No, not because you have a lot of money. But I'll go so far as to say that because you have that, as well as good at laying the pipe, but you're also a man of integrity and a man of good character. A man who's proven that you protect her, provide for her, and then cover with her what her prerequisites are for her to be a woman of submission. And you can lay out to her what the world of loving her means, support means for her and to her, and be that man. So gentlemen, if you want her to be all that she is to be, you need to be all you need to be. Remember, I believe in the man leading the relationship. But with that being said, I also believe he must earn that spot. Because there are other men who are also qualified that are vying for that spot as well. So continue to grow, continue to learn, continue to practice, and continue to read all of the passage, all of the definition, and not make it into your own definition. Honor and respect it for what it is. And be clear when you communicate with her so that she feels safe. I believe we're built for relationships. I believe we were built for the forever afters. I believe we're there for sharing experiences. But gentlemen, let's take a little consideration. At least, or at the very least, try to understand why they feel so bad about such a word or words. I think we can all learn something from this. And from that, you can grow and have the conversations. So, I hope that covers a few things. Chances are, I'm willing to bet, I'm going to get a number of emails and texts and calls, and there probably will be a part 2 to this. But at the very least, I wanted to provide to the women the thoughts of men, and to the men the thoughts of women. Because I think too much of what we read and hear does not provide enough context and nuance in our journey for finding the one that we want to spend the rest of our life with. We can't microwave everything. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for them. Again, my name is Ronnie Walker, and if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, I can be reached at Ronnie@resultswithronnie.com. That's Ronnie@resultswithronnie.com. You can reach me at resultswithronnie.com for coaching and consultation. And the podcast is now on YouTube. I want you to reach out and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that when I drop new episodes, you'll be ready for them. So again, I thank you for your time to listen in. I thank you for your suggestions and support. It's incredible. You can reach me on Facebook, Instagram at official Ronnie Walker, Twitter, Ronnie Walker 77, and again, resultswithronnie.com. You can also go to MrRelationshipMan.com for the latest podcasts and past podcasts. Ladies, as a man, I want you to know, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of incredible gentlemen, we love and appreciate you. We honor you. And we believe that there are many, 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 regardless of what anyone says, beautiful, incredible women out there, available for marriage, looking for a leader and provider. Gentlemen, I truly believe, and let's do our part to let them know that. And ladies, if anything, if you see a man doing something great, let him know. Share it on social media. There are a lot of incredible men out there. I can assure you that. They want to be the leaders in their relationships. They want to be the husbands. And I have some past podcasts that may help you understand it even more, or some form of confirmation for those of you that believe in saying, where they at? They're out there. I speak to them. I coach them. So together, let's work, let's converse, let's ask questions, let's move the discussion forward, let's progress, let's grow. And I thank you again. My name is Ronnie Walker, Master Coach of Exceptional Relationship and Sex. Thank you, and have a great day.